Hello OAS family, we've got another book review today, and today we are going to review the book Drawing Lotus by Ho. It is in a series of books called Chinese Painting for Beginners, but I want to warn you right now that I don't consider this book to be necessarily for beginners. It is a very good book and a very useful book, and I will show you why I think it's useful, but it's not really like, if you have no exposure to Chinese painting and don't understand the materials, it's not going to take any time to walk you through that. But it does have a very unique format, and I want to describe it because I think it can be very useful for a lot of different people, especially since instruction on Lotus isn't that common. So just the details, or the rough details of the book, dimensions-wise, it is 11 3/4 high by 8 1/4 in width, approximately. And it has about 133 pages of instruction, and the written instruction is both in Chinese and English. So we're going to get right into the book here. So the author starts and spends some time talking about the cultural significance and the history of the subject, which is great. I love information like that when it's presented, so it's very useful here. Then he goes into some broader technique things and shows a lot of sort of finished paintings, and talks a little bit about, how to draw the different pieces of a lotus, from the bud to the cupule to the flower. So that's this beginning section is kind of about that, talking about how to render the open flower and showing different paintings that give you an idea of what these elements look like when they're in their final compositions. Here's a section describing lotus and birds. A section on double front view of lotus and side view of a double lotus. A section on painting the leaves. And this is where we're going to start to get into the sort of uniqueness of this book, which is it details the techniques of 7 different master artists on a single subject. So there aren't that many books that do that. And so this book actually does that. The thing that is a little bit strange is I find certain artists paint different subjects in different ways. So it's nice to see them painting the same subject in a single book because it really shows you the difference in style that way. And it brings out each individual master's style. So here is our first master. It's Professor Chang. And we're going to go into his section here, and you can see he's got this sort of cinnabar lotus on 6 joint screens, an amazing finished painting. So they sort of open with that as kind of like a wow factor. And then more paintings on this sort of cinnabar style lotus. Talking about line work. His section doesn't have as much elemental instruction as the others. So it is mostly finished paintings with descriptions about techniques that were used in each painting. So you can see here, very distinctive style. So it does tell a story about how one of his paintings was sold at auction in New York for over $70,000, which at that time was a record. So it does detail that story, which is an interesting story. Kind of cool when they include those sort of details about the artist's life and the history of his work and how it's been appreciated. So I found that story to be kind of a cool addition. So we're going to go through rather quickly here because we have a lot of this book to still go through. But this is Professor Chang's section, and you can see here a nice collection of his work. He's the one of note that focused on Lotus the most, so he has the most Lotus paintings out of all of the masters that they feature. So the second master that they feature, who's one of my personal favorite artists, is Professor Chao. So you can see that he has this very distinct style. It's kind of this loose, sort of spontaneous style, which sometimes includes outlines and whatnot. So there's that painting there. And there is more elemental instruction, sort of illustrative, more like step-by-step instruction in Professor Chao's section. So there's that there. And you're starting to get a sense right away how his style differs from the previous artist. Really beautiful use of color in these leaves here. So here's a sort of lotus pond and goldfish kind of demonstration and a focus in on each of the individual elements of the painting. And then lotus and egrets. Sort of moonlight, lotus pond, and one with a fish overview. All right, then we get into the next master, which is Professor Yang. Okay, and you can see an immediate shift in style because we're dealing with a different painter now. Also, his section does have some illustrative where they're showing you more broken down elements, more outlines. So that's nice. So it's referring throughout the book to two different kind of styles, and basically the main difference is whether or not the styles have outlines. So that description is across different artists. You know, they talk about the non-outline style, and then they talk about the outline style. Okay, now this is Professor Wu. And again, we see a shift in color palette and a shift in style. Now we start to see some more elaborate work here. And then freer work here from the same artist. All right, and this is Professor Chao, another Professor Chao. So you can see here, again, you get a change in style, more white space in these works. So pretty clear shift in color palette and overall style here. I do want to notice something that we see all the time in these masters' works is we see things that, you know, as newer painters, we would almost regard as mistakes, you know, these little moisture bleeds and whatnot. And, you know, you can see that it's present in the master's work. But, you know, when you have the confidence of a master, people wonder if you did it on purpose, and maybe you did, but no one will ever know. So it's important to see that, you know, even in these people who have been revered enough that they've been featured in these books and are acknowledged as masters of the art. All right, we have a new artist here, Professor Su. This is his section. So you can get an idea here why I like this format, because you see these very different master painters focusing on the same subject. So there is like a continuity where, you know, the different styles becomes more apparent. And if you don't understand the genre as much, it's nice to see the styles in the same subject shown kind of like back to back, because it helps you see the gamut of the styles, and it kind of helps you choose the one that you like and the one that you want to try to emulate, and aspects of different ones that you might want to try out and incorporate and see how you like them. This is Professor Wu. This is outline style, more meticulous, building elements and shading of a bud here. Open flower, seed pod, and then paintings showing paintings in the original photographic inspiration. So that's kind of cool to see how that happened. This is composition with a frog. This little frog down there. It's kind of neat. Striking picture of that sort of dewy lotus bud. Amazing. And it talks about the dawn lotus and how the raindrops are sort of represented and rendered. Really kind of cool. Withered leaf with falling dew. So that is our review of Drawing Lotus by Ho. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found some inspiration here. If you'd like to purchase the book, you can go to our website at www.orientalartsupply.com. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see more content, more book reviews, painting lessons, inspiration, and things on Asian philosophy and culture. And we thank you for watching, and have a great day.